Part 20, Chapter 39 and 40. Chapter 39. A Final Wish. They fled. From everywhere. From every room and corridor, leaving everything else behind. Most of the residents chose to leave as soon as Aaron's team delivered the message. The information spread far too quickly. "Do something," Kilan demanded of the leader. He slammed his fist onto the table in front of him. Pain shot instantly to his fingertips. How was he supposed to be heard when the person across from him seemed mentally absent? "Your organization is collapsing. Have you noticed?" Sidar remained seated in his chair as if glued to it. No movement, no sign of will to fight. Staring straight through his son, he didn't move a muscle. Had he given up ever since learning the truth? "People," Kilan called out to the room. While the younger ones watched him attentively, Aaron looked toward the leader. Simply giving up or letting others handle it wasn't something Kilan could accept. He was a fighter, a CR. His duty was to protect. "What do we—" Kilan stopped short when he heard Kate coughing behind him. He swallowed. He had felt the itch in his own throat since yesterday. He wanted to cough too, but he suppressed it. The sensation worsened until clearing his throat brought brief relief. A burning sensation irritated his lungs. "Ignore it. It's nothing. I'm healthy." "As yet?" Kilan turned to him. His last chance to change anything lay with the leader's right hand. "Are we all going to die? You can't allow that. This isn't how the fight is supposed to end." "Being here has always been voluntary," As yet replied. A gentle smile played on his lips. How could his voice remain so calm when so many were fleeing in droves? "We can't force anyone to stay. But without CRs, we'll achieve even less than we already have. What good does it do them to flee to the glass city?" "There's better air quality in there than here," Slivon chimed in. "Has Kilan thought about that?" "Slivon, man." He shrugged. "What? Why the sigh?" "Whether they die coughing here or lose themselves in the glass city, it all ends in death," Wenjana said. "Everyone wants to choose their own kind of death, don't they?" "No. You too now, Wenjana? Aaron, tell them." She shook her head. "I'm just trying to put myself in their place, that's all. I'm staying with you, of course. My final wish, so to speak." She smiled faintly. Kilan didn't dare turn around as Kate's coughing worsened. A dry, barking cough. Wasn't that the stage right before suffocation? Suddenly, his own cough burst out. His heart raced. It had to be exhaustion. His medication was running out. Even though sleep would have helped, he couldn't close his eyes. Instead, the dark circles beneath them deepened. "Final wish," As yet whispered. "Holding my daughter in my arms one last time. That would be nice." His smile softened. Out of nowhere, Sidar stood up. It was as if he had only just come back to life. So abruptly did he move. Following him with his eyes, Kilan saw the leader leave his office without a word. It was almost a miracle that he made it outside through the crowd pushing to get out. Is he going to give a speech or something? With effort, Kilan pushed through the masses, using his elbows. There was no respect left for fighters as long as selfish people could carve out a way to escape. He could only shake his head at how uncivilized and chaotic they had become. Kilan turned when screams erupted. Nearby, a child spat blood onto the ground, then collapsed. Others retched and vomited shortly after. Any help came too late. The pushing intensified. It might have been his imagination, but the urge to gasp for air grew stronger. What kind of hell have we ended up in? A numbness spread inside him when he saw Wenjana pressed against a wall by the crowd, struggling to breathe. "You're killing her!" he shouted. Aaron pulled her back and dragged her into his arms, into a small gap where they gained some space. He ran a calming hand along her back. Good. Safe. But where is Slivon? Where are you? Kian's eyes widened. His partner lay on the ground, hands shielding his head. People stepped on him as if he were a doormat. Panic probably kept them from realizing they were trampling a person. "Get lost!" Kian snarled, shoving a man aside to help Slivon up. "Are you blind? Someone's under you! Hey, Slivon, are you okay?" "Been better," Slivon croaked. It took time for their team to regroup. "Stay close to me," Aaron ordered calmly. "The corridors are narrow when everyone tries to leave at once." "Yes," Kian answered, alone. If he were allowed one final wish, it would be to see his team safe, out in the open air, where there was no crushing confinement. After a long march on foot, they stood before the glass city, exhausted, disoriented. Rain began to fall. "What do we do now?" Kian spoke more to himself than to his team. "Do we just let the military handle this, or do we interfere?" He watched as people passed through the skin of the giant Slivon effortlessly, without resistance. They vanished into nothingness, virtually swallowed whole. Merciless. No screams, no return. Are they insane to give up like that? A lump formed in Kian's throat. Many of the refugees were people who had fought alongside him and his team, who had shared meals with him, who had talked with him and fought for the same goal. Now they were simply gone. Kian tilted his head back. A combat helicopter opened fire above them. He ducked instinctively. The soldiers didn't care whom they hit. They weren't aiming. Those bastards! Then Kian's eyes flew open. Am I seeing this right? What are you? Kilan? Kilan spun once through the air and blasted the military back with his power. Whenever they approached, he struck swiftly at arms or legs, dropping them in agony. Their limbs steamed at every touch. He shoved a tank aside until he found an opening to escape. "The monster has appeared," a soldier warned the others. "Right here!" Gunfire erupted. Kilan deflected the bullets with his Slivon, where they melted into powder. "What?" Kian began quietly, growing louder with every word. "Are you doing here, damn it?" Kilan noticed him. Rockets fired in his direction, narrowly missing. The shockwave slammed him to the ground, sending him rolling until he came to a halt. Was that my fault? Before the soldiers could launch another attack, Kilan drove his tentacles into their heads. Aaron immediately severed the connection and kicked Kilan away with full force. Using his Slivon, Kilan slowed himself to reduce the impact. The soldiers were breathing, but they dropped to their knees, unresponsive. Their faces changed. Empty shells, right in the middle of the battlefield. At once, Kilan wrapped himself in his Slivon's skin. shielding him from outside influence. It vibrated as if it were about to give up its spirit. Aaron's kicks did nothing but expose him to the Slivon's heat. "You're strong," Kilan breathed toward Aaron. "You never hesitate to seize an opportunity, do you?" "Please, Kilan." Kian knelt before him. The first impressions showed no severe injuries. Without the Slivon, he would have touched his brother's arm. Instead, he dug his fingers into the dirt. "Stop this. You're killing people." "I'm freeing them from their suffering and removing the ridiculous reasons they have to fight," Kilan replied. "They're dissatisfied. Can't you see that? The imbalance of their emotions makes them crave conflict." "No, you're killing them by taking away their will to live," Slivon snapped. "Can't you hear properly? Do we have to beat you senseless before your brain cells start working?" "Why are you here, Kilan?" Kian asked. "I sensed strong emotions here, and I—" "Kids! Kids! Thank goodness I found you! Are you all right?" Kate came running toward them, panting. Cedar and Eziet joined them. While Cedar watched the jets like a child fascinated by space, the corners of his mouth lifted into a smile. "And," Kilan continued, "almost all the Slivons inside me are used up. I need a new one, or I'll lose my powers completely." Before Kian could fully grasp the words, Kilan moved toward Kate. She stumbled backward. Reflex? Her necklace snapped and fell to the ground. The glass shattered. That is... "Slivon!" Kian shouted. Heads turned. Too late. The Slivon transferred into Kate. Kilan seized the others. Kate pulled wire from her bra and looped it around Cedar's neck. She seemed completely transformed. "Don't move!" Kian froze. "Finally!" Kate spat. "Finally I found you, human Cedar." "So you're a traitor," Cedar said monotonously. "What a surprise." "Don't move," Kate ordered when Eziet stepped forward. "I'm taking him with me, got it? I promised my sons I'd bring their father back. Kian and Kilan, you're here? How long was I gone?" Neither Kilan nor Kian spoke. This was their mother's true face, at least the Slivon side, the personality of one of the sin leaders. Why do her eyes look like ice crystals? They were warmer just moments ago. "Very clever, hiding the Slivons in your necklace," Eziet praised with a grin. He looked close to applauding. "That's how they survived all electrical signals." "Yes, it was risky. I never knew whether the necklace would ever break. But here I am." "The world is in chaos and you still insist on doing your thing? Are you serious?" Kian snarled at his mother once he found his voice. Without Aaron, his fist would have connected. "Let the boss go!" "Oh, my boy! I'm going back to the Glass City with your father. Are you coming? Are you coming too? Kilan?" Wenjana and Slivon immediately clung to Kian, shaking their heads. "Guys," he said, freeing himself, "I'm staying." "Relax, okay?" Cedar said to Kate without looking at her. "I won't resist. See?" Eventually, Kate loosened her grip, watching him closely, wire ready, but Cedar remained rooted in place. She pulled another glass pendant from her bra. "There's another Slivon in here, just in case," she said. "I'll drop it on the ground. I don't know whether the Slivon will absorb the previous memory cells, but it's fine as long as I keep my promise. Sidar closed his eyes briefly and took a deep breath. As yet? Yes, Sidar. I can't go on? The leader confessed. I want this to end. My wish was to witness this fight. I had given up hope, but look, as yet, they're finally coming to help us. Eziet stepped closer and embraced his friend. This is your doing, my friend. I'm so tired. Understandably. You need to go to your daughter, don't you? And you're leaving? Tell me, where do the lost selves go? Into nothingness? Is there a place for people like me? Eziet didn't answer. He held his friend tighter. Slowly, the leader raised his arms and returned the embrace. Too tired, Eziet. Far too tired. These eyes have seen enough for one lifetime. If I happen to leave this world before you, would you be okay with that? They separated. In a few years, I'll follow you, my friend, in another world. What is this turning into? Kian's legs trembled. Had his body known before his mind? Kate dropped the pendant. Kian lunged forward, but Aaron pulled him back. The Slivon flew toward Sidar and vanished into his body. Darling, Kate called expectantly, clinging to him. Take your time. You must be confused. After all, you've been gone a long time. Why did you allow this? Kian spat at Eziet. Without Aaron, he would have punched him. I thought you were friends. You and Jiyan can only... Sidar cleared his throat. He looked around, then into a puddle. His presence changed. A gleam appeared in his eyes, something the leader hadn't had in a long time. Darling. Sidar grinned as he clenched and unclenched his hand. Who would have thought I'd awaken in the body of the CR leader? Today's my lucky day, isn't it? What? Who are you? Kate asked, backing away. She dropped the wire. You sound so human. After a few moments, Sidar scanned them all. He stopped at Slivon, studying him from head to toe. To think I'd see you up close again, Slivon. Huh? What? Why is he staring at me like that? Why is everyone staring at me? What's going on? More explosions echoed. The ground trembled as if splitting in two. Other soldiers spotted Kilan and signaled toward him. His tentacles shot out before they could call for reinforcements. More empty puppets collapsed uselessly to the ground. Sidar's body shook. That person laughed heartily. How amusing, wouldn't you say? He said. Or don't you agree? Forgive me, I keep forgetting my manners. Allow me to introduce myself. Standing before you now is Caleb. Chapter 40. Not the right place. A loud bang jolted Jiyan awake. Where? Fina's chest rose and fell. Nothing unusual. Steady, not out of rhythm. Her eyes were closed. How long had they been asleep by now? My last chance. Still groggy, Jiyan began to move. She dragged herself along the wall so she wouldn't fall. The world spun slightly. Soon, her body would function as usual, but she couldn't wait for soon. The windows creaked. The water pressure was strong. As long as they didn't shatter, everything was fine. Where was the tremor coming from? She shook her head. This wasn't the right time for such thoughts. Focus. Don't allow anything else. Do it. Now. From above, on the second level, the staff entered whenever they came from outside. That was where she needed to go. She looked around feverishly. Which path led out, which led her astray? She couldn't afford to run in circles. In the end, she relied on her intuition. She ran to the right. A round door awaited her, opening automatically. There, diving suits. At least a dozen hung on the walls with their equipment. Since these were used by Fina's staff, she hoped one of the air tanks was filled with enough oxygen, at least enough for one last dive. All or nothing. She put on the gear. How much time did she have left? Were her enemies awake by now? She slammed her fist onto a red button labeled Exit. The door behind her sealed shut to keep water from flooding in. An alarm blared. The sound cut through her bones, set something vibrating inside her like deep bass. A siren roaring into her ears. The hatch opened gradually. A current tore her along. Damn it. Too strong. Pain shot through her fingernails as she tried to grab onto something. She couldn't withstand the force any longer. With frantic movements, she swam upward, but was pushed down instead. Calm. Calm. This is not how I die. As her movements became more even, she regained control of her body. From above, she recognized the submarine she had been in all this time, a submarine with a connecting tube leading to the surface. Disoriented, everything blurring for a moment, she registered movements below her, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. Dangerous sea creatures? She didn't want to find out. Again, she felt pressure, like a giant hand crushing her, especially her face and stomach. The water seemed to tremble. Something was happening outside. But what? From afar, the skin of the great Slivon became visible as light fell upon it. She curved around it. When she turned, she froze as a school of fish swam past her. For a minute, she thought she was done for. Her heart fluttered. Okay, good. Follow the tube. Go. It should have felt familiar, to be home. But Jiyan felt nothing. Foreign terrain, even though she had spent her entire life in this place. Her shoes squelched as she walked. The cold crept up her heels, then her calves. No one was allowed to discover her. Luckily, it was raining. The electricity in this city was largely bound, much of it powered by something else. What was the greenish energy flowing through the street lamps? She noticed carriages and steam locomotives, just like in the old books. Quickly, she pulled her collar up in case passengers looked her way. As soon as the last raindrop fell, the Slivons in the sky grew restless. Of course. After all, a space in her head had become vacant. She had become prey. Shit, I'll stand out so much. Instead of running, Jiyan stopped. She thought. Without a Slivon, she would appear even more suspicious. Waiting for the next rainfall could stretch on endlessly, so she stretched out her arms and tilted her head back. It couldn't be more inviting than that. A Slivon rushed toward her, straight into her skull. I am me, she whispered, looking into a window pane. The reflection showed a young woman with tired eyes, wet hair clinging to her shoulders. Unbelievable! Everything is true. You are you, Jiyan. A mix of emotions gathered in her, tightening her throat. She pushed them back. No time to laugh or cry. Wait, something has changed. She had less energy than before, more doubt. Where had that high gone? That feeling of being able to do anything, of being a goddess. Was her brain healing right now? Whatever, I'll manage somehow, she told herself. I need shelter. She stood in front of Leanne's house. Would Liam's sister take her in? She, too, must know that Jiyan wasn't a Slivon. What were the chances she'd look the other way? She couldn't think of another place. Kilan's and Kian's house and her own apartment were likely being watched in case she returned. That would be Zayina's first thought. How do I explain this? Liane opened the door, even though Jiyan hadn't rung the bell. There you are, Jiyan. She immediately grabbed her hand and pulled her inside. Wasn't that too hasty? She hadn't been expecting her. How would she know Jiyan would show up today? The impression intensified when Jiyan spotted dry clothes on the sofa. For her? You're seeing ghosts, I think. Liane, I need to tell you something. Jiyan stopped short when she saw familiar faces in the living room. Yumi, Amir? What were two Sin soldiers doing here? Were they here because of her? Run or wait? Hi, Amir greeted her, lifting his hand. Yumi merely glared at her. Turning to Liane, Amir marveled. Unbelievable! You guessed right. Jiyan really did come. Her body longed for rest. She sat down on the sofa, but stayed stiff, ready to bolt at any moment. Run where? She felt like laughing. Don't be afraid, Liane soothed her. Girl, you're safest here. Girl? Liane grinned. Yes, I'm everywhere. Who am I? Jiyan asked. Caleb. The ground vanished beneath her feet. She had walked into a trap. It was over. How naive she had been. To come here. To risk her life only to fall into his hands again. Hey, you're not going to pass out, are you? Amir checked. You've gone so pale. Hey, calm down, okay? Caleb won't hurt you. Not you. Not us. I don't understand, Jiyan whispered hoarsely. She clutched the sofa. Each breath hurt in her chest. No matter how deeply she inhaled, the air was always scarce. Do you love being in women's bodies? Caleb giggled. My escape from the submarine was pointless. You had nothing to lose. That's why you were so relaxed. Now, I wouldn't say that. Caleb replied lightly. You surprised me, honestly. Good plan. It took a while before I regained access to Fina. You knocked her out pretty well. Don't make it more ridiculous than it already is. Jiyan snapped. She couldn't stop her legs from shaking. Eventually, the trembling spread to her arms and hands. At least her voice regained strength. I feel so stupid for believing I could escape you. Caleb rolled his eyes. Girl, I already told you. I mean you no harm. I don't hate you, not the Slivons, not anyone. Quite the opposite. We need them. Need? Oh yes. The air in the outside world isn't being purified because the Slivons are missing, and soon it will be completely used up, Caleb explained, his tone carefree. Did nothing shock this man? Simply put, the Slivons feed on the substance and act like a vacuum cleaner. As long as it stays up there, it does its job in space. But if it mixes with oxygen and reaches Earth,
it becomes dangerous for any living being with lungs. And that's all your fault, Caleb. You threw everything out of balance.
Always making yourself so important, Yumi snapped. Jiyan frowned at her. What did you just say? What does she want from me? What did I ever do to her? You heard me. You and your family are vile. I wanted to kill the president. You beat me to it. Now you and your sister are on my list. A lump formed in Jiyan's throat. She said nothing. A dull pressure built at her temples, eventually pounding. Had she reached her limit? I'll kill you all. That's the only reason I live. Why do you hate me, Yumi? Please, don't fight. Amir intervened. We've lost so much. This argument won't help. Shut up, Amir, Yumi muttered. Jiyan clenched her fist. Is that all you can do? Hurt the people around you, huh? She glanced at Caleb, who watched the exchange without intervening. How many of him were there really? She had probably spoken to several of his bodies in the past without realizing it. Disgusting, this man. Why didn't I die instead of her? Amir blurted out. He drew his legs up and held on to them. Liam or Jade could have saved you better than I did, or Kilan. Everyone left me, and you drifted away too. You were never the Yumi I knew, I know. I can't become a soldier for the president. I wanted to make my parents proud. My life is ruined, from one day to the next. As soon as his words reached Jiyan's ears, her heart began to race. Liam was dead? How did Zaina take the news? Was she even allowed to think about that? And then something opened within her. Yes, that's right. Everyone has dreams, don't they? The Slivon is nothing more than a reflection of a person, isn't it? We all want to protect ourselves from harm. I wish you would give up your revenge and... What do you care? Yumi hurled back. You Slivons don't care about anything as long as you reach your goal. That isn't true. Oh, really? Then why didn't your researchers stop experimenting on my parents and me? If I hadn't pretended to be a Slivon, if I hadn't endured the daily pain the Slivon caused me, I'd still be trapped there until my brain was riddled with holes like my parents. Until I... That's enough. Jiyan stood up. Her body acted on its own as she patted Yumi's and Amir's heads. She didn't know why she did it, but it felt right. Even when both stared at her in confusion, the feeling didn't fade. You're both right in a way. Both sides are. It's human nature to defend one's needs. The Slivon does nothing else, does it? Always interesting, girl. Caleb chuckled. Let me guess. You're going to your sister. Can you read minds? Do you really want that? Yes. Aren't you listening? Girl, I think you don't even know what you want. You wander around aimlessly without a true goal or conviction. Haven't you found your place in this world? You should have stayed in the submarine. Well, at least I should thank you for not blowing anything up. She chose not to respond and turned her back on them. The chaos in her head grew. No one stopped her as she left the house. A press conference was underway. From a distance, she saw her sister standing before the people in a suit, speaking to them. Confident, elegant, charming, better than Jiyan could ever be. Are you happy, Zaina? Being here, with no one by your side? Are Liam or I still part of your thoughts? Jiyan stepped onto the stage. There was no other way. Sneaking up to her sister would fail. She was too well protected. She had no choice but to take the direct route. Gradually, she drew the attention of the residents. Question marks were written on their faces. Daru, you here? Zaina smiled arrogantly. Without protection? Do you miss prison? I need to talk to you. Calmly, Jiyan climbed the steps. With every step, the knot in her throat tightened. Bodyguards blocked her path. Her sister raised a hand and shook her head. They stepped back. That's bold of you, acting so openly. Zaina laughed. I'll give you that. You surprised me. So, what is it? Tell me, Zaina, have you ever loved me? A brief silence. If I get the answer, can I rest then? What am I even doing here? Was Caleb right in the end? What am I hoping for? That everything will be okay again? Eventually, Zaina began to laugh. A laugh that stirred nothing good in Jiyan. Not like before, when she used to enjoy it. You came to me for that stupid question? How could I love someone like you? People who know nothing but chaos. You killed my father, remember? Zaina! Humans took my father and Liam from me, she continued. The audience roared in agreement. The noise level rose. I made sure the Prime Slivon shields us from humans. For my people. Do you understand? All we have to do now is wait. Time will take care of the rest, and we'll reclaim our freedom forever. Do you think our mother would have wanted this? There. Her sister's jaw moved slightly. Moments later, her expression returned to normal, as if nothing had happened. Why bring that woman into this? That woman who only ever loved you? Who gave us those names to warn me about you? What? Run along, human. Do what you do best. Run away. I have nothing more to say to you. I'll give you 1 minute, and then I'll set my bodyguards on you. Go on. Zaina, please, I want... 1. What was she supposed to do? Let herself be arrested? If no one loved her, why resist at all? A veil settled over her. Everything felt heavier, duller, darker than moments ago. Was it my fate to fail? A thought spread through her mind until it formed an image. Her biological father, Kilan, and Kilan, who apparently was no longer in the city. She and many other innocents were out there, behind the skin of the great Slivon. They would all suffocate there, without exception. I must leave. Jiyan squinted as a light blinded her. Something rained down onto Zaina. Magnetic dust? But who? Then Yumi shot forward like lightning. Reflexively, Jiyan shoved Zaina aside. A cut opened beneath Jiyan's ear. The burning pain followed instantly. Why are you getting in my way, damn it? Yumi screamed. Yes, why? If she hadn't pushed Zaina, would Yumi have slit her throat? Did a part of her still refuse to let that happen, even though her sister didn't love her? An uproar broke out. People ran in all directions. Yumi overpowered several bodyguards. In a corner, Jiyan saw Amir leaning against a wall. Why he put himself in danger to help her made no sense to Jiyan, but at least she didn't need to worry about them. Using the chaos, Jiyan ran as fast as she could, far away, anywhere. Someone yanked her hair, nearly knocking her down. She managed to tear herself free. She had to go to the outside world. This was not her place.